Hello everybody, Brotot here, and today I'm going to be talking about Destiny 1. Now Destiny 1, it's probably my favorite MMORPG game. I played it since it first came out, and it's just such a good game that stuck with me for so long. And today we're going to be going over every single DLC that's in it, obviously, as we did with last week's video. So, let's just get started. First we're going to talk about Destiny, plus The Dark Below, plus House of Wolves. Now, I've been playing Destiny since beta, which was in 2014, I'm pretty sure. And back then, it was just a few missions and a strike. And it was very entertaining to me because back then I was pretty young. So when it came out, I wasn't able to get it. A few months after it first came out, though, I was able to get it after Dark Below came out. And I was very intrigued by the entire story and all the gameplay mechanics and everything. It was such a good game. But the story for launch was not that good. There was definitely some bad parts of it, but there were also some good parts of it, such as House of Wolves brought some pretty good story for the Fallen, which are an enemy type. So if I was going to put the story out of anything, it's going to be a 6 out of 10 for Destiny, Dark Below, and House of Wolves. Definitely not the best, but I still love it. Now we go into the gameplay. The gameplay, I have to say, is a solid 9 out of 10. There's basically nothing wrong with it. The guns felt great. There was the primary, secondary, and heavy, like we do in Destiny 2 now. And back then it was a lot more special because a lot of games didn't do that. I mean, yeah, they had guns, but it wasn't like a primary special system. Then we go to the graphics. For its time, back in 2014, the graphics were pretty good. They weren't at the peak like some Call of Duty games and stuff, but they were definitely a solid 8 out of 10 for me. Now the voice acting and dialogue, I have to put out a 9 out of 10, as it's not 10 out of 10 because there were definitely some flaws with it, but don't get me wrong, it's still amazing. And the difficulty. The two raids that came with Destiny and Dark Below were both extremely difficult for me at the time. Those were really the only difficult tasks in the game though, so I'd have to put the difficulty at an 8 out of 10. Overall, I put Destiny, The Dark Below, and House of Wolves at a 7.5 out of 10. Definitely great, but it wasn't my top game. So now we go to The Taken King, my favorite DLC out of any game ever, by a long shot. The gameplay, it's a 10 out of 10. There's so many new guns, so many new mechanics, so much amazing things that were just trapped inside this one single DLC, and it was just amazing. The story gets a 10 out of 10, as I love the story of it. You have the guy who you killed in Dark Below's dad coming to avenge his son. He's immensely powerful, probably the most powerful enemy that we've seen in the entirety of Destiny history. It's just so good to me, and the raid was definitely a good part of the story as we fully finish off Orc. Now, the places, there are some bad things about the Dreadnought, which is the place that came with the DLC, such as you couldn't bring out your Sparrow, it was quite small, and all around it was just not a fun place to explore, but I'd still give it a 9 out of 10, as it was a new place. It was completely different than what was there before in the other DLCs. The voice acting and dialogue is 10 out of 10, as you had Cayde and you had Oryx as voice actors, both of them amazing. I know Cayde is Nathan Fillion, but I don't know who Oryx is. Whoever it is, 10 out of 10 to you. You have the difficulty. The raid was super difficult. It was definitely the hardest raid in Destiny 1, as it was super long, there was a lot of bosses, and it was just the mechanics were difficult. So for The Taken King, I'd give it a 10 out of 10. It's so good. I love it. It's my favorite DLC, and I will forever, no matter what comes out, think this is the best DLC ever. Now we move on to the final DLC of Destiny 1, Rise of Iron. The story is a 9.5 out of 10 for me, as I still love the story. It's amazing, bringing the Iron Lords into play, bringing the Fallen back. Everything about it is just amazing, but there is some flaws that would get rid of that 10 out of 10. Now the gameplay, I had to give it a 10 out of 10 like last DLC. This DLC had amazing guns, amazing everything that you could even think of. It was an amazing new experience. The places, I'd give it a 9.5 out of 10, as it brought the Plaguelands, which was part of the Earth, but it was corrupted by Siva, which is the new enemy, and it's good. It looks great. Everything about it is just beautiful. And you can actually go back into the old part of the Earth, which is now corrupted, if you start off from the Plagueland. Now the voice acting and dialogue is a 9 out of 10, as you don't have any enemies talking in this one, but the voice actor for Lord Saladin, which is your main ally here, is an amazing voice actor, and I have to commend him 100%. The difficulty is a 9 out of 10, as the raid, in my opinion, is the second hardest in Destiny 1, as there's new bosses, tons of new encounters, tons of new mechanics, a new weapon that you could get out of the raid named Outbreak Prime, which is a big part of Destiny 2 also, that I didn't go over because it wasn't that important. So, the difficulty is 9 out of 10. What would I rate Rise of Iron? A 9.5 out of 10, as it's an amazing DLC. It's my second favorite out of Destiny 1, and it's just amazing all around. Now, for the final score, I'd give it a 9 out of 10, as it isn't the 10 out of 10 most amazing game ever, because there are some faults with it, with the base game and the first 2 DLCs, which, as Destiny was a whole new thing to them, the first 2 DLCs weren't going to be great and the base game wasn't going to be amazing either. So I have to give them some props, but it's still a 9 out of 10 for me. So that was my final review of this game. This game, like I said last time, has been with me forever. It's been with me since I started playing video games, and it's such a good game to me, and it will forever stay in my heart. And you may disagree with me about this game, but that's fine. Leave your opinions in the comments, and I will talk to y'all later. Have a good day.